and sneering. I mean, it's just absolutely typical. My honourable friend speaks from great experience. We do want to be a family-friendly government. That's why we're putting the extra hours and help into nursery education, into the child tax credits, increasing it by £290 for the least well-off families, and we'll also be introducing proper help in terms of flexible parenting.
Karen Buck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Westminster Police Command are now being required to lose 240 police community support officers, slash by 2/3 the number of PCSOs doing security and counter-terrorism work, and further require every single police community support officer in the borough to reapply for their own jobs. What message does the Prime Minister think this sends out to the public who want to see visible patrol-based policing on their streets?
Well, the point I make to the Honourable Lady, we're asking the Metropolitan Police Authority to find a cash reduction over the next 4 years of 6.2%. Now, we face an enormous deficit in this country because of what we inherited from the party opposite. We do have to make difficult decisions, and frankly, I don't think it is impossible to find a 6.2% cash reduction while keeping good frontline policing at the same time. And I'm very confident that my good friend Boris Johnson will do exactly that.
Mr. Andrew Bridgen.
Speaker, is the Prime Minister as enthusiastic as I am for the localism bill and the prospect of it delivering real growth and empowering local communities? But does he agree with me? The best way to tackle political disengagement is through local accountability.
I think my honourable friend makes a very good point. We all know that we are not building enough in this country in terms of houses for our young people, or houses to end the scandal of overcrowding, or the amount of people on housing waiting lists. The best way to get that to happen is to make sure that local people really feel they have a say and control over development in their own area. That's the way to square the circle. The top-down targets under the last government didn't work. The localist approach will work.
Jamie Reid.
When he was leader of the opposition, the Prime Minister pledged to fight bare-knuckled against hospital closures. Yeah. Will he give a guarantee to the House today that for as long as he's Prime Minister, there'll be no hospital closures on his watch?
The pledge I can make to the honourable gentleman is the one I gave when I visited his constituency, which is that we're expanding and funding the expansion of his hospital.
Heather Wheeler.
Speaker, can I congratulate the Prime Minister and thank him for all the work in the Department of Education are doing regarding free schools? And can he please give encouragement to the two sets of parent groups who are looking to build 2 free schools, a junior and a secondary one, in South Derbyshire?
I can certainly give the Honourable Lady that encouragement. I think the free schools policy is a great success, as we see a number of really high-quality schools coming across in our country. And it is depressing to see the attitude of the opposition towards this policy. What we had was a new Education Secretary who, in the first flushes of the job, Shadow Education Secretary, said that he would support free schools, but as soon as Unite picked up the phone to him, he had to drop that altogether. And you want to know what their policy is now, Mr. Speaker? What he said was this. What I said is that we oppose the policy, but some of them are going to be really, really good schools. Run by really good people. And we mustn't put ourselves in a position as a Labour Party of opposing these schools. So they oppose the policy, but they support the schools. What a complete bunch of hypocrites.
Can the Prime Minister explain why his Secretary of State for Health was able to make concessions to the Liberal Democrats in the health bill in the other place last night, but was unable to recognise the need for these changes when it was debated here? Isn't this more about doing political deals instead of doing what's right for our NHS?
Well, we are doing what's right for our NHS, and that's why average waiting times for inpatients are down, average waiting times for outpatients are down, hospital infections are at their lowest level ever. We've got mixed-sex wards down 91% under this government. The number of managers is down, the number of doctors is up. If she wants to see further improvements to the health bill, there'll be plenty of opportunities.
To Tom Brake.
2/3 of the young people involved in the riots had a special educational need. Does the Prime Minister agree that this underlines the need for complex solutions which tackle educational underachievement, rehabilitation as well as punishment?
Yeah. Well, of course, as I've said many times at this dispatch box, we have to look behind the statistics and what happened and ask ourselves how we've allowed so much to go wrong in our society. And clearly, education and special education needs play a role in that. But I do think it's important, and the public want to see, swift justice and punishment handed out when people break the law. We did see that at the time of the riots, and I think we should see it all of the time.
Order. 10-minute rule motion. Julie Hilling. The members. Order. Order. Just before the Honourable Lady begins her 10-minute rule motion, I just appeal to members leaving the chamber to do so quickly and quietly, affording the same courtesy to the Honourable Lady that they would want to be extended to them in such circumstances. Well, just before we call the 10-minute rule motion, point of order, Mr. Bill Esterson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In this morning's Westminster Hall debate on the future of BBC local radio, the Minister, in responding to the debate, used the term priggish in response to my intervention, in which I asked him to address concerns raised by many honourable and right honourable members about the loss of jobs and the impact on vulnerable elderly and disabled people who rely on BBC local radio. The debate was well attended by over 50 members on all sides and had been good-natured and consensual. I wonder whether, Mr. Speaker, the term priggish is appropriate in a parliamentary debate, and if not, should the Minister come to this place to apologise not to members of this House, but also to those who face losing their jobs and those who rely on such services.
Order, just before the Honourable Gentleman comes in. I know he's bursting with enthusiasm, but he must contain himself. What I would say to the Honourable Gentleman is control of that sitting was the responsibility of the Chair in Westminster Hall. It sounds like an intriguing debate, and it may well be that I should study it at some point, but I've nothing to add at this stage.
Not on the same subject you rule.